All right, everybody, welcome to the lecture hall. For tonight's matchup, we are well into the NGS Season 4 playoffs. Here we are with the West Finals, Division B. And the matchup tonight, Divine 9, the number 3 seed, versus Obscured, the number 5 seed. And Obscured making a heck of a little run here in the playoffs to find themselves in the finals. Tonight, the maps that have been banned out will be Dragon Shire, as well as Battlefield of Eternity. We are headed to Infernal Shrines up first. And tonight, I am joined by Mongoose. Mongoose, pleasure to have you once again here in the lecture hall.
Pleasure to be back. Hopefully this time we'll have evidence of our hard work in the entertaining games.
That's right. I'm going to hit the record button too. Let's go for it.
Super excited that you actually invited me on these games. This is my division. I know these guys well. Really hyped to watch. I would have been in your lobby now, but being on the backside of it's even more fun.
Mongoose, you have called actually this team in Obscured that has again found themselves just pushing deep into the playoffs in a very unexpected way. Tell us a bit about Obscured and how they find themselves here in the B West Finals.
Well, looking at their seed, you would say it's unexpected, but Div B West 1 through 8, any of those teams 100% can take teams off of anybody else, and we see it. We have the number 3 seed, the number 5 seed, and Obscure took out 2 higher seeded seeds and subject to change to get here, and probably most unexpectedly in Showboat last week in a really close 2-1 set. Showboat, I think, generally regarded as probably the best team in Div B West all season by a little bit, but they really threw some unexpected compositions at them, and I don't think they were able to make the adjustment to the unusual teams that Obscured was rolling out there.
And we're definitely going to get to that quite soon. Again, this has the potential to be a very fun matchup with some different looks. Divine 9, a team that I've casted many times and I have pretty good knowledge of, but Obscured has taken quite an interesting turn. And now, if we may, just a quick word from our captains.
We're not really sure what to expect from Obscured in this matchup. We were surprised when they got the win over Team Showboat, who we feel is a lot more straightforward an opponent. It's kind of like the old debate of which would you rather play against, chess with a master or checkers with a 3-year-old. You would think the checkers would be easier until the 3-year-old changes all the rules.
We're Obscured, we're Obscure, and we're here to obscure Divine 9. Seriously, pretty excited for this match. They have a really deep hero pool, and I think it'll be a really interesting game either way. Looking forward to this final match.
And as we get on to our keys to the game, I want to thank our captains for the kind, maybe not so kind words. I love the banter and the interplay. But moving on to our keys to the game. Key number 1, we'll talk about Slug Life. Part of what Obscured has done so differently is utilize the Abathur, and utilize the Abathur in a very, very different way. Mongoose, tell us what Obscured has been doing with Abba in the playoffs here.
Well, 2 weeks ago, before their set with Team Showboat, they ran like a tankless Abathur comp and really, I think, caught subject to change off guard with it. They won both games 2 and 3 with that unusual setup. Last week, subject to change did their homework and they banned Abathur. I think they thought they were set. And then they came out with another couple of unusual drafts, all melee, literally all melee, no ranged heroes. They did it twice. And the last game in particular was very overpowering. And it took a little bit of adjustment from Team Showboat. The game 1 in particular, they were just on their back foot the whole game. And I think it really took adjusting within the games, how they were playing it to kind of level out, capture that game 2, and force a really competitive game 3.
And on to point 2 here, Stalwart Angels. We're just giving a shout out to Divine 9, the holy ones in this matchup. They are a team that resist change. They do not adapt. They play their game, and they play it very well. If this is your first time watching Divine Nine, they run a very efficient style. Usually one melee flex, one mage thrown in there. They do not rotate often, if ever. And in one particular case in the last match that I was fortunate enough to cast for them on Towers of Doom, just like a small example will be that they just don't respond to bottom camps. They just don't care. They want to get to the team fight, win it very efficiently, and from there they will work the map to their advantage. And our last little key here, just we're going to throw it back over to Mongoose. Mongoose, what do you expect here as we prepare for draft number 1?
Clash of styles. You mentioned efficient out of Divine Nine. They are toward the bottom of the Div B West in hero damage per game. They're surgical in their team fighting. They like to isolate somebody out, win the team fights early. They're really good at it. Obscured has more thrived in this playoff run with kind of organized chaos, these heavy melee comps, these unusual hero combinations they're running, and they just kind of overwhelm their opponent with unexpected chaos. And with these heavy melee comps, they're all over you all the time. So I think it's really going to be interesting to see the surgical efficiency of Divine Nine versus the kind of all over everything style that Obscured was running last week.
Oh man, and we are about ready to hit into our draft. Our teams have been patiently waiting while we have been setting this one up. This is going to be a fun matchup. I can't wait to see where these teams go. Once again, this is the Division B West Finals. We have Divine Nine going up against Obscured, and we're headed to Infernal Shrines up first. All right. Couple of quick changes over the last few weeks. We've gone through a number of different bug changes, but all of the bugs have been fixed. So Lightning Breath and Lava Wave are both A-OK here. I don't think, Mongoose, I don't think we have anything currently not allowed other than Urel as part of the new hero release window. But again, I think we're playing on a pretty clean patch.
Yeah, the only bug that I'm aware of is Phoenix is bugged with any interaction with the shield breaker talents. Yeah, so the medic EMP grenade and the Varian shattering throw is the big one, of course. So none of those things are banned because if you pick Phoenix, it's to your detriment. Yes. It's not an advantage. So it's a buyer beware thing. I still wouldn't be surprised if we see Phoenix, but it's going to be like a last pick kind of a deal. Yeah.
I mean, these teams are just motoring through this draft. So to go through a quick little recap here, Leoric banned on the side of Divine Nine takes away a strong solo laner from Obscured. Obscured comes back with the Kerrigan ban, which was a theme for Divine Nine and has been throughout these playoffs, the target of Phantoms and the Kerrigan specifically here on Infernal Shrines. Answered with an Alexstrasza and a Blaze. So interesting that Obscured, after going for these sort of controlled chaos comps, now seems to be setting up a bit of an impregnable defense here with Blaze and Alexstrasza.
Yeah, the early Alexstrasza pick is a little bit surprising. They've really prioritized Malf and Stukov. Unicorn King and Deckard Cain. Unicorn King last week was really good with Deckard and Stukov, but now flexing into the Alexstrasza. You mentioned Kerrigan, a Divine Nine specialty. No surprise to see her banned out. They went 10-1 with Kerrigan over the regular season. Not quite as well known, Leoric is actually an Obscured specialty. I believe it's Ants Anson who plays him, and they either went undefeated or one loss with Leoric throughout the season, and he was a big part of their tankless all melee comps that they were running.
Which kind of brings you back to what was that the old-fashioned, the unkillable comp where you ran, I think that was a C9 game.
Yeah, it was like a Mercury, Leoric, Tassadar, Abathur.
But no, it's again, it was an interesting wrinkle, but we're actually not sort of seeing that here, which is why it's a little curious with the Alex and the Blaze. Maiev and Deckard are picked up. So Maiev is the pick for Phantoms, and Deckard will be played by Judge Bredd. Divine Nine has moved into Deckard Cain. Remember, this is a team that just doesn't or did not want to play Stukov throughout the entirety of this season. They're on a totally different level with their supports. Target ban as ETC is removed by Obscured.
Yeah, I believe it's is it Rabid Penguin is the tank player for Divine Nine. He's
Yes.
really good on ETC. It's been one of their more heavily played heroes. Deckard Cain hasn't been for Divine Nine. They've really turned into the Uther and the Rhaegar. I think that fits their style better. So I'm wondering, is that an adjustment to what they saw last week? Maybe the big story time to kind of halt that rolling tidal wave that Obscured's been throwing out at you?
With the Kane, again, it's something that again exists outside the support meta, so it's really not all that different for these teams. But I do believe that they did play it last week against Roll One. But this is another sort of boring draft that they've set up. There's the Abathur ban and actually made it through. But this is what again Divine Nine wants to do. They just want to get players on comfort heroes. Siege has played a lot of Sonya in the playoffs.
Whoa!
There's the wrinkle. It's the Cho'Gall.
I mean, Alex Straza percentage-based healing with the Cho'Gall makes sense. Dragon Queen on the point. However, Cho'Gall does tend to struggle on 3-lane maps. You usually see him on the smaller 2-lane maps. There's just one less body.
It's not a big jungle, though. I would say it's not a big jungle here.
And Blaze will help with that because he can handle 1 lane by himself. So that last hero from Obscured, you would think has to be someone that can also at least fake it as a solo laner.
Man, this is going to be wild. Now here's where Cho'Gall it certainly gives Divine Nine pause. They tend to play mages. They tend to play large burst assassins. They do not right now have percentage-based damage. And they've already taken both their offlaner and their flex pick. So it's tank and ranged. Do you flex into like Tychus and Nubarak immediately? Are you just going to go all in on the Cho'Gall, counters, or do you do what Divine Nine does and just play their game?
Well, there's the Anubarak. That's to cocoon the Cho'Gall out of a fight. You might be able to just bunker away that timer, though. You kind of trade out bunker for cocoon and wait it out. It'll be interesting to see how that goes. What I was going to start to say was Divine Nine doesn't really, in their toolbox, they haven't shown it, those percentage-based damage dealers. So maybe a really clever kind of pocket strat coming out here by Obscured, but a very daring opening game. No time to feel each other out, no jabs. They just went right into it.
And just another little wrinkle here we see in this draft is that when Cocoon is used, if it is used on the Cho'Gall, how are you going to stop Blaze from dropping bunker? How are you going to stop Alex if she takes Cleansing Flame from using that? Although the cheese with Cho'Gall is Lifebinder. And I was about to say, like, if you're building a comp that is unkillable, that is resistant to things like Cocoon, what are you going to do to top it off? And heal heroes and obeys. Samuro, the Blade Master, picked up by Obscured.
And actually, the Burning Oil by Blaze, it'll be really good to the Cocoon because it's the ticking, the small ticks to burn it out. So Blaze will actually be pretty good at burning that out. Garandoff on Samuro, he had game 3 on Zera where he was an absolute monster last week on the Zera tool. Very curious to see what he does to that backline. Jason in particular has to be very careful, at least until he gets his ice block.
Boy. When you come to this point, you're always like, well, who do you want to pick in a draft? Well, I mean, you've just got standard, boring, what has a lineup that has propelled Divine Nine to the top of Div B West since the early parts of the season. And then a team like Obscured, who, again, they were 2-0'd by Divine Nine in the regular season, and now they're running this. I mean, fun, but where is this game going to go?
That is a good question.
I was just like stuck with like a Cho'Gall Samuro. All right, for the side of Divine Nine, if I may, Rabid Penguin will be on the Anubarak. Judge Bread will be on that Deckard. Jason will be playing the Jaina Phantoms on the Maiev. Siege will be playing the Sonya on up in the top lane.
And for Obscured, Team Captain Mumu on Blaze, Garandoff on Samuro, Unicorn King on Alex Straza, and I got itches on Gaul, and Anson on Cho to combine to be Anne's Chess. Or Anne's Chess? Anne's Chess. That's what I'm going to go with.
Enche? I don't know. We could put a little French stink on it.
There we go.
So Divine Nine is going to cover all 3 lanes. They're afraid of the big man in the middle. 1-1-3 for them. Kane covering middle. And Blaze will go to meet Sonya off in the top lane. Axon wants to know, will we see Lifebinder for the Cho'Gall? Honestly, I can see both ways.
Yeah, you can see Lifebinder for the the large health pool,
Yeah.
and you could also see the Cleansing Flame to give Alexstrasza more survivability and the ability to get out of dodge. Cho'Gall putting a ton of pressure there. Deckard Cain not going to be able to hold off Cho'Gall.
No, he's just going to sit and watch and wait for his team to show up, and there they are. We'll throw up our level 1 talents there. Again, very few surprises. The armor reduction, King Quest on Scroll of Sealing at 1 should be very interesting. We see W build for Alexstrasza again, as expected.
I think I'm going to give, just kind of as I'm digesting this draft, I think I'm going to give the draft win to Obscured, not because of the comp itself, but I think this is maybe the least Divine 9 team comp I've seen Divine 9 take. And you have to say that that's a win in of itself, taking your opponent out of what they do while staying within what you do.
We just have to see how this plays out. Divine 9 has repeatedly looked to pick on Garandalf here in the early game, and I mean, that's probably the easiest target that you're going to be able to kill. Samurai unable to sneak bottom camp. Cho'Gall coming down, though. There's Anshe. Bowls on in. Rabid Penguin in big trouble there. The root is out. But is Phantom's going to get out? Phantom's trying to figure out, how do I get off of this camp? And that's First Blood.
Not. I mean, if you're Cho'Gall with an Alexstrasza, you can't fight on a point like that. She literally just put the healing on top of it. You can't fight there. Really great rotation by Obscured to come down and recontest the camp after they were bullied off.
And Rabid Penguin just ease out, burrows away. I don't want this. I don't want no part of it. And Phantoms winds up staying on the point. So maybe a little bit of a miscommunication there. Again, not sure, but we'll have to keep an eye on that. That's, again, one of the first times in these playoffs I've seen Divine 9 go in 2 different directions. Speaking of 2 different directions, there's the invade from Rabid Penguin. Now trying to take the camp back from Garandalf. There's the heal from Alexstrasza. The abundance comes over the wall. Rabid Penguin going low. Anshe is here. And the Cho'Gall's on the warpath. Gets another kill on the Anubarak. Phantoms has used Vault. Does not have the teleport. Garandalf using the clones gets out with 15 HP. Jason now. Jaina gonna cap this? No.
I don't think so.
Girl, get out of here. Are you crazy?
I will tell you, Professor, this game 1 is very reminiscent of the Obscured game 1 versus Team Showboat, in that it seemed like it took a bit for Showboat to kind of make the adjustment to a different style of game that was being forced upon them. And I think Divine 9 might be having a little bit of that right now.
I mean, again, clean team that did not, rotate very heavily, played very simple games, was extremely efficient in drafting, getting what they want, and now 2 camp invades have not worked out. There's the roots from Phantoms. Mumu has used Jet Propulsion, now has to eat 1 stun, takes the second one from Rabid Penguin. Unicorn King there to assist, and the Jet Propulsion is there.
And I bring your attention, Samuro still in the top lane, and Obscured is actually right in the objective race, and they're pushing mid. I think they're going to be conceding this if Samuro is staying top, but they're going to get more value with the double push than I think Divine 9 is going to get with this objective.
No, and we'll try to keep an eye on the Samuro there. Divine 9, again, dude, they don't have great shrine clear. It really is all on Sonya. It's not efficient for Jaina to clear. And now Siege is going to have to try to pick up the pieces and stop the bleeding. That's a level lead already.
Yeah, and you remember the changes earlier this week. This outer wall just isn't worth as much as it's used to. It means you can prioritize them even less. Phantom may be in trouble. He does have his Vault.
And now Rabid Penguin goes in, so Vault was used, as was the Burrow. Unicorn King now looking to back the other team members of Obscured away. You know what, they're going to wind up taking a fort here. I'm a little surprised that they actually made it that far.
Well, I mean, Samuro never came down, so that's definitely part of the reason that happened.
And the anti-siege is quite poor, specifically in the early game. Takes a little while for Blaze to pick up a couple of talents. Cho'Gall, again, good, not great. You're not picking Cho'Gall because he's there to kill Punishers. Garandalf, does he evade the spear? Nope.
He does not.
Need a little
Great
bit more
play
jukes.
by Siege there.
Just making any move towards the wall there was just going to give Siege the opportunity to hit the spear. He does Divine 9 claims their first kill.
And the bigger play before the spear to finish it off was actually the slam to knock Garandolf out of stealth, allowing him to get the kill.
Siege just had a lot of games on Sonya in these playoffs. He
That is true.
Quite comfortable in the Barbarian. Interesting.
So-
What? Any expectations here, if I may, for level 10? Axon throwing it out in Chef. Chat, cast the Lifebinder, then hop in the bunker until it goes off. That's interesting. I didn't think of that. I mean, Cleansing Flame or Lifebinder. And what is the pick for Cho'Gall? I know what I want to see, but what do you think?
Well, I think Shadowbolt Volley for Gaul is pretty easily the choice. It's for.
Is it?
I tend to prefer it. Do we have our first caster disagreement?
Listen, I just find the Upheaval Nether combo to be way more interesting and fun. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I can see it both ways. I think the ease of execution is definitely lower with the Shadowbolt Volley.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Especially
And,
because who do you kill if you wind up going for the combo? You're basically saying, well, can we kill Kayn or Jaina before Ice Block, and that's about it.
Right, and if you want more CC, the Twilight Hammer does give Cho'Gall the ability to peel that he doesn't otherwise have. But I think Alex Straza is really the interesting choice in the heroic department.
I mean, again, if you're going to go with Shadowbolt Volley, do you also need Cleansing Flame combined with whatever Samuro is up to provide a little bit more backline damage as well? All right. It's okay. Nether and Hammer and Cleansing Flame. And a Containment Disc for Maiev. Stay a while and listen. Obviously, we do see Cocoon. Jaina goes Ring. And I assume Sonya goes Wrath.
And Illusion Master for Samuro.
Illusion Master is the pick in competitive. I don't
Yeah,
think I've
if-
seen a
if-
Blade Storm here in NGS yet.
No, I mean, if you're going to play Samuro in an organized, high-ish level of play, the more return on investment is Illusion Master if you know how to utilize it.
For sure. Second objective here. The first one was picked up by Divine 9. If you're just joining us, welcome. Divine 9 and Obscured here in the Division B West Finals. The number 3 seed and the number 5 seed. With a little bit of flavor here by Obscured running this Cho'Gall Samuro. At some point, Obscured needs to press the R buttons and go for something. They're not getting a ton of value out of Samuro split push. In fact, they actually wound up giving up the XP lead that they had earned so well around level 7.
Yeah, and I think in the first objective, I don't mind that play at all. But the later ones, you really can't give up these objectives for free. At some point, they're going to have to go in and contest. And this is already on the side of Divine 9. It's over.
And there's asymmetrical push here. There's a Shaman camp pushing top. So Garandolf is on the bottom fort. He should be able to take that down. Top fort for Obscured is going down to minions right now. That may equalize. It looks like Blaze is going to go ahead and take care of that. But this is an Arcane Punisher pushing down mid lane. The first one took a fort. This may take a keep wall.
I think this fort is going down. There was no outer defenses for it. So I think the next objective, Obscured has to contest. They cannot keep conceding those Punishers.
No, and they're playing a long game here, but they haven't taken a fort. And this is a keep wall. And, boy, if Cho'Gall goes down, this is a keep. Keep an eye on the burrow here. There's the root, the containment disc. So they're trying to break the wall. Keep an eye on Rabbit Penguin here.
So they actually have Containment Disc and Cocoon for Cho'Gall. They can double Cocoon him.
Phantoms goes in, gets the pull on the big fella. Twilight Hammer out. Shove out. There is Ring, and stay on. Listen, not going to get much, but it looks like Divine 9 smells the opportunity for a keep. They back off. The keep's at 40%. Move with the chase here. Twisting Nether is out. There's the push. Oh, on Shay reveals the Divine strategy. Jaina goes down. The Cocoon comes out, but it is too late. Rabid Penguin looking for the retreat. Was that the play? Double movement abilities on Cho'Gall with Nether? Okay.
This is a really interesting game. I mean, Samuro pushed all the way to that keep wall before only coming back on that pursuit where the Jaina was killed.
And right now, Obscured, they actually need to try to find a little bit of a snowball here. They've lost not just 2 forts, but 75 to 80% of their middle keep.
Yeah, I mean, it's down low enough to where it's a win condition, later in the game. They'll just
I know it's Cho'Gall. I know we hate him for what he does, but this is actually a fascinating little bit of macro here because Obscured is in a position where they are going to have to turn up the lane pressure, particularly with Garandolf. They take bottom camp, posturing over their own Khazra camp in the middle lane.
Now, for the first time, I think since the early game, macro advantage now with the Merc pressure going over to Obscured. And I do think the longer this game goes on, assuming all keeps are up, the more it is going to favor Obscured.
But that middle keep can go down so easily.
So fast.
In fact, I would almost like to see Divine Nine just go for it. Maybe, pop some heroics in between objectives, even if they don't get it after the next objective. But the next objective will be bot lane, where both forts have been pushed out.
Yeah, I think if the objective were top lane, it would be pretty easy to do. But with where it is, a little bit tougher.
I mean, I was a little surprised they didn't actually just send somebody to try to bomb it and even take the death. That would have been huge. If they let that middle keep stand... Again, this is RNG, so this is a bot objective for next phase. It could be top because it is RNG. I mean, they may not get another whiff of that keep for quite a while.
I'm looking at the levels, which are pretty close. I mean, almost dead even, actually. Despite a structural lead for Divine Nine, that means there's a lot of XP on the table waiting to be taken for Obscured. If they win an objective and they win a team fight, that's a lot of XP they can cash in. They could take a little level and a half lead here pretty quickly.
And both teams will grab their Shaman camps in the top lane. I expect this advantage actually to go over to Obscured. They're sending Cho'Gall up, but I would have expected Samuro to help clear top as well. 16's rapidly approaching. We also take a look not just at the talents, but some of the quests as well. Anubarak getting close with Regen Master. But slow going for both Jaina, who has finished Fingers of Frost, but her baseline Ice Block quest nowhere near being complete. Dragon actually comes out immediately. There goes the Cho'Gall in. Garandolf on the back line with the Samuro. Pressure coming in as the Jet Propulsion there comes out from Mumu. Garandolf backs out. The sleep is there. Nether is popped. And Nubarak goes down, but at the same time, Cleansing Flame applying backline damage. Judge Bread trying to provide a little bit of peel there with the Kane CC. Phantoms is low. There was Vault. Cho'Gall is still alive, trying to survive. Unicorn King trying to keep the big fella up. Garandolf goes back in to provide a little bit more damage. Jay's on low. Judge Bread low as well. And Obscured win that team fight. Boy, the ring and Stay a While have not been on point. But I'm sorry, Mongoose, as you were saying, sir.
Yeah, there was a little anti-synergy there. The containment disc keeping Cho'Gall out of any chance of being kept out into the Ring of Frost. But Blaze held on to that bunker into the absolute latest possible moment, got good value out of it. And then I don't know if you saw the healing circle from Alex Straza in dragon form. It took a Cho'Gall from like 25% health to like 75% health. It was such a huge heal. And as soon as that went down, my thought was this team fight's over. They cannot let him get that heal.
And the Alex quest is done. I mean, it's finished. And not only that, we're just going to highlight this real quick. This is overprotective at level 16. So Heroes healed by Abundance, gaining shield for 3 seconds, equal to 60% of the amount healed. That is a huge heal, a huge shield. And we were wondering if they were going to go Lifebinder. No, they're apparently just going to throw Abundance on the big fella, and he is not going to die.
Also worth noting, Callous Hide at 1, increasing Cho'Gall's healing by 15%.
This is a wall, and Obscure's trying to turn this into a wall and 2 forts. This is the Cho'Gall 16, so you'll be seeing plenty of stoppable brutes.
And Samuro's going to get both of the other outer forts. There's the level lead I was talking about. That residual XP just waiting on the map to be taken. Obscure just took it, and now look at the level discrepancy.
One more goat auto. Ooh.
Phantom's tanking it. I don't think I've ever seen a fort so low before. It literally looks like it has no hit points.
That's ridiculous. Okay, I'm sure Garandolf will go towards the mid lane, or maybe even on Shay the Cho'Gall, and just blow a kiss at that sucker.
There it goes.
All right. He held on for so long. So what Mongoose was alluding to, the couched experience in those forts, has now pushed a 3/4 level lead on the side of Obscured. But again, the anti-synergy on Divine Nine has been startling. This is certainly against what we have seen from them in the playoffs. And we are now in a position where it's late game and it's Cho'Gall.
Yeah, and Divine Nine has really thrived on being able There's a containment disc on Cho'Gall. Samuro nowhere to be found. There's the Ring of Frost. That catches Cho'Gall. Dragon King goes out.
Stay a while. But Cho'Gall's going to get the shield there from the Abundance is up. Cleansing Flame comes out as well. Anubarak is incredibly low. Has been silenced, in fact, by the Cho'Gall. And goes down. Phantoms is low as well. Muma's going to die for this. Anshe is trying to get out. Unicorn King, however, is on the wrong side. He's now going to go back in. Cho'Gall has to save Alex. The Abundance is there. This is a huge heal if it gets off. It'll save Cho'Gall, but not Alex. At the same time, Sonya goes down. There's Twisting Nether. Jason does not have Ice Block. He's had no damage in this game. Cho'Gall's trying to clean. There goes Jason. It's just Judge Bredd. I don't think he can get away from Cho'Gall. No, he's mounted. And I am wrong. And there's Garandolf.
That was a 5-on-4 with the execution that Divine Nine wanted. They got exactly what they wanted and ended up with a 4-for-2 loss while Samuro AFK pushed top lane.
Wow, what's happening here? I'm thoroughly confused. I mean, they got the containment disc. There was nowhere for Obscured to go. They had to pop every cooldown, and I actually believe everything but Twisting Nether was used, and then the rest of the fight happened. And Obscured picked up 3 kills, and they're now 20 on fire, level and a half lead. Didn't quite get top keep, but again, you expect passive pressure to come out here, and maybe Garandolf goes and snipes that keep during the objective phase. Divine Nine has a long road to go back into this game because this Punisher is going to push down middle and is going to start to threaten a keep.
2 thoughts. 1, Hour of Twilight decreases Cho'Gall's death timer by 50%. Has been taken. That is going to be brutal. That means Cho'Gall can trade out 2-for-2 the rest of the game if he wanted to, and he will be back up. Containment disc does go down. Divine Nine going for round 2.
They don't.
But they let him walk away.
There's the Unstoppable. This is 20 into 18 now with no containment disc. Rabid Penguin jumping onto the Cho'Gall there. Mumu dodges everything that was coming out. The CC chain has been relieved. There is the Cocoon. Garandolf has not made an appearance yet. Blaze is just going in to free the Cho'Gall. The Unstoppable comes out. There's Abundance underneath the bunker. Anshe trying to find targets there. Goes into the back lane. It's a huge 3-man Nether. Deckard Cain is gone. Phantoms and Jada are low. Jason, are you going to get out of there? Maiev is gone. There's the Cleansing Flame. Alex is chasing down Jaina. I think this is game. Garandolf is going to go after Siege. There's the 4th kill. It's just Rabid Penguin.
You run it up top lane right now. That keep's already dead. I'm surprised they haven't made the core call yet. Actually, this really should be game.
They do want the objective to push here, and I think again, just slightly low health bars, no mid well, and I actually think that might be the one saving grace here. If Divine Nine can resist what we expect to be this core push, that might have saved them for sure. They want 2 keeps.
Divine Nine thrives with isolating out that vulnerable target. Who's the vulnerable target?
I guess you have to actually try to chain Alex.
That's the only one.
That's it. I think you have to. I think you would have had to block Cleansing Flame. That's it. And they were never able to get there. I mean, this is still 20 into 19. Garandolf in big trouble there. Will try to snake his way out. Great play by Phantoms there to lay on some damage. Stay on listen comes out. But again, the containment disc is used at the same time. Dragon gets off. Unicorn King is alive. The Abundance is going to get huge heals. Phantoms gone. Penguin gone. Jason gone. Anshe on that. Cho'Gall is just cleaning house. Game 1 is going over to Obscured. Assuming Messer Cena can turn and finish the score. 80%. 70. It's definitely game. What do you take out of game 1 into game 2 if you're Divine Nine? You just got blitzed by a Cho'Gall. You made your comfort ban in the secondary ban phase. And that happened.
I mean, at this point, has Obscured shown enough of these unorthodox comp that you actually can't ban out for all of them?
If you ban out for all of their wonky stuff, you may find yourself in a position where you're just staring down the meta. But I mean, again, this is a team at Obscured that has now played Cho'Gall, Samuro, Tankless Abathur, all melee.
And no ranged assassins.
So what do you do? We are in such an odd spot.
Now, I will say I do expect Divine Nine to bounce back. This game just really felt like that Team Showboat game one where Showboat was caught so off guard. They spent so much of the game trying to adjust to this bizarre team that's operating on the other side of them. I got that feeling from Divine Nine as well. I think game two is going to be more competitive, but do you change one of your bands and let Leo or Abba through?
I'm not afraid of Leo. I understand. I think you would probably start with the Abba ban. Are you really afraid of first pick Leoric? You know, like is that really where we're gonna go with the ban? We have to go back to Leoric. I don't know about that one.
I would say no, except for that's kind of what made those really heavy melee their go. That was the guy that they grabbed that kind of made it work. So, whew. I want to know who the Theory Crafter drafter is for Obscured, because he's the NGS mad scientist.
Yeah, this is again. It's shocking because Obscured was a team. Again, they were really solid. I casted exactly this matchup. I casted Divine Nine versus Obscured. Obscured struggled to find the right team fight that they wanted. They were playing simple meta comps. They weren't jumping out like this. I think Divine Nine knew that this was going to happen, that it was going to be some form of cheese or, again, something quite odd. But they didn't play Cho'Gall yet.
No. And Obscured, I mean, that honestly is one of the best played Cho'Gall games that I've seen. Divine Nine, they were definitely had some timing issues with their heroics, some anti-synergy there. No such issues for Obscured. All of their stuff was timed out well. There wasn't really overlap or conflicting heroics. They were patient with the cleansing flames. They were patient with the bunker and really got kind of maximum value out of all the buttons they pressed.
When you see something like Cho'Gall Samuro, you expect there to be, some... Oops, I'm not expecting... That's a good call. All right, so Mumu has given us our next map. It is going to be Cursed Hollow. So Divine Nine gave up map pick against a team that's doing this.
I guess that gives you
There's a lot of
control over the early pool of heroes.
Does it really? Because we're talking about Cursed Hollow. Like, what direction you can? Again, this is another map where you could just go in any different direction. It's you have to be worried about Abathur. You probably don't have to be worried about Cho'Gall again, right?
Probably not.
I don't really think that's a thing on Cursed.
But this is Obscured, and I don't know if they have a thing.
Right, which is what makes, in my opinion, this first pick, first map selection a little bit more puzzling. Just a little bit. I really would have liked to have seen Divine Nine say, all right, we have the map bans up right now. Battlefield's banned. I can't take him to a 2-lane map that I like. But, maybe something like Tomb should have been an option. Again, Tomb is something that I expected Divine Nine to go to. But they didn't take that. We're talking about giving up map pick to a team that does some crazy stuff, and they are taking you to Cursed Hollow, one of the maps which lends itself to some of the craziest comps that you can come up with.
Yeah, definitely many varied strategies on Cursed. And I don't know why this just kind of dawned on me, but if Obscured saw that targeted Leo ban, they actually turned that into something that works for them. Leo not on the board to deal with the Cho'Gall. So
just immediately,
next level mind games for Obscured here.
And again, I agree with Mongus, what you were saying about game number one. This was not like a cheese game where you run it down a lane because they don't have anything to stop the big fella. This was smart macro. This was patience. Obscured took a 1-level lead at 7. gave up the first objective, and then really chose not to hard defend their first fort, giving it up. And then we're on even talents, right? They're just resisting attempts to give camps away. They're resisting everything that Divine Nine wants to do with Containment Disc and Cocoon. They've clearly got their enemies a little flustered. And then they just wind up just say, okay, we've got 16 now. We're going to take our objective and we're just going to take this game over. I mean, it was a well played, if there is such a thing. And obviously that game's an example of a Samuro Cho'Gall comp.
Yeah, and I think probably their patience in those fights is what impressed me the most. And it was everybody. Unicorn King didn't rush the healing circle. He didn't get panicked into Cleansing Flame. Blaze didn't get panicked into a bunker. And even though they played well last week, I wouldn't call patience a hallmark of the games they showed last week.
Okay.
But in game one, it was 100% a key to what they were doing was they were so patient and calculated in how they ran that comp.
Just, again, surprising. The Samurai could have seen. Well, I really did think when Alex and Blaze were the first two picks by Obscured, I thought this draft might have been taking a little bit more of a standard turn. And again, they kind of baited Divine Nine into that.
Yeah, they did. They really did. Definitely done some homework done. Sonya always really highly prioritized by Divine Nine. And, Sonya kind of occupies the slot that a lot of those heroes and it is a first ban ABBA. That's what you suggested. The first ban ABBA makes a lot of sense.
I mean, this is Cursed Hollow. Like, just get rid of it. If they have a TLV player, okay. If they have something else, all right. Please get rid of Abathur and Divine Nine. Listen, they're smart enough to get rid of that.
I mean, if you're Divine Nine, do you completely steer off of what's gotten you here?
I don't think so. I just think they need to maybe change the order in which they are making their selections. So for them, I now think instead of taking your offlaner early, which they have just been snapping Sonya immediately every game. A lot of games in the playoffs have gone that way. Take the ETC. Right? Take the ETC, or if you have a specific support that you really want to play, take that. I mean, maybe you take the mage but leave up your flex and your offlaner. That's the one thing I want to see them change. I want those two picks pushed to the bottom of the draft. I don't know if they're going to follow here, but Kerrigan ban as well. And didn't take the advice. There's a Sonya.
Yeah, I mean, the Kerrigan ban coming out, that's kind of become very well known. That's the Divine Nine speciality. So Kerrigan is just not going through anymore. Sonya picked out, and I liked what you said there. You just, you don't change draft philosophy so much as draft prioritization to leave more flexibility. There's the first pick, Leoric.
Yeah, and they take the
Deckard Cain. Yeah,
I don't think that's a deny so much as just something that they have enjoyed playing. I think they're 3-0 in their last 3 games with Deckard Cain, unless I'm mistaken.
And one of those weird comps they ran last week, all melee, was a Deckard game.
So let's think about this. So that would mean what's left? Varian, Zeratul, Thrall?
And that's pretty close to what they ran last week, game 3, actually. Very close.
Okay.
I don't remember if it was a Thrall, but it was a Varian and a Zeratul.
That was off the... I was just... let's take a look, man. Hey, man, we got scouting reports courtesy of the man, the myth, the statistician, Zadov. Again, some of these comps: Deckard, Blaze, Alarak, Malthael, Varian; Stukov, Thrall, Zeratul, Leoric, Varian; Stukov, Blaze, Gul'dan, Leoric, Varian.
I mean, if you're Divine Nine, you're thinking, we're not going to get Cho'Galled again, but what in the world do they have up their sleeves to where they picked Cursed Hollow? What bizarre comp are we going to get that we have to deal with in game 2? If I'm their drafter, that's kind of what I'm thinking is what's coming here.
And they've left both their range DPS and their flex open at the bottom of the draft here. And this will be Obscured's choice coming out of draft. I think the safest play here is Maiev for them to ban. I do believe that should be the ban. But
And you know this.
I don't know where Obscured goes with their draft. We're seriously, we're just sitting here like, all right, which meme do they go with? So I'm gonna go with Zera at the very least.
I mean, they last picked Zera kind of out of nowhere, so I think if it fits, that wouldn't surprise you. It is going to be the Maiev ban.
Good ban on that side. Again, don't give Divine Nine. I mean, that would be their comp. Their comp would be rounded out by Maiev Jaina. And then you would essentially be giving them all of the heroes that have propelled them this far into the playoffs. So,
For sure.
Good Maiev ban. You know, even if you have something up your sleeve here that maybe she doesn't work too well into, or maybe there is a more obvious counter, I like that deny there.
I do have two thoughts here for Divine Nine. They
Yeah, they
ban
do,
the
okay.
Cho'Gall. Not going to deal with.
I think that's a free ban.
I'm not going to say what it is because I don't
Okay.
want to jinx poor Jason, but he did kind of tip me into something